What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering. Once in a while, I like to do kind of a casual about me video. It occurred to me that, there's not always going to be breaking news, but, I've been on this planet for 37 years and 361 days. And, there's some things that I've gone through that I think might be helpful, might be interesting. So, a lot of you always, I talked about this in the last video. I revealed my day job. A lot of people don't know this, but I also have a master's degree from a traditional college. I have a MBA with an emphasis on both internet and direct marketing, and I have a 4-year undergraduate degree as well. And I was kicked out of college. I had to beg my way, claw my way back in, and this video is about that story. Before I get into it, though, speaking of college, how about a new awesome book to read? Check this out. Huge shout out to this video sponsor, Inhuman by Eric Leland. Look, I don't often do a lot of book sponsorships, but I mean, just look at this dude with his handlebar mustache and his gigantic beard. How could I say no? Here's what you need to know about the actual book. Inhuman is a military-themed supernatural thriller. A special forces team trapped behind enemy lines is hunted by one of their own when he is possessed by a demon. Features a female character who actually suffers for her goals. Think about how rare that is. That should be an auto buy right away. The author is an Iraq War veteran who wrote the book specifically to entertain troops who are stuck on a fob waiting for combat to happen. Eric is also an actual subscriber of the Quartering, and so I would argue that if you're looking for a good book to read, the author said I could be as casual as I wanted, and that's super rare to go out and reach out and support. If you read the book, and I hope that you do, you can pick it up on Kindle or Amazon or Goodreads. Make sure you leave a review for it too. Huge shout out to Eric. I love talking to my viewers who are doing something like this, creating culture, and that's exactly what I'm always talking about, which is why you should support Inhuman by Eric Leland. Link in the description and pinned comment below. So when I was in high school, every single guidance counselor, by the way, pick up that book. It's rare when I get to shill a product for somebody that actually watches my videos. Plus, it sounds pretty interesting. When I was in high school, you had to go to college. That was the only way you could be successful. This is what our guidance counselors told us, who all went to the University of Madison, who had all paid enormous sums of money to make $35,000 a year as a guidance counselor. Now, no disrespect, but me looking back, those guidance counselors should have been getting involved with their students and decided and understood, that the trades were a better spot for a lot of them. I have a twin sister. Maybe I'll make a video about that another day. A lot of people are shocked to hear that too. And she did terribly in traditional college. Terribly. She just was not for her, just like it's not for a lot of people. But now she's a registered nurse and takes care of lots of people all across the state and has an excellent job and supports her family. But, she got forced into a traditional 4-year because that's what all the guidance counselors did. And they thought, boy, I'm at the peak. I'm at the absolute peak of the mountain, high school guidance counselor. Every one of these little snot-nosed kids probably should do the same thing I did. So when I met with my guidance counselor, I was an above average high school student, average to above average, like a BA student. And I've never really enjoyed school. I enjoyed I enjoyed communications and hanging out and the social aspects. But what I was really good at was problem solving. I know now it's called problem solving. Back then, they all thought it was computers. So I took this Cisco course, which I don't know if they still teach in high schools or if this tech is even still relevant anymore. But there was only a few kids that took it, and we got trained on Cisco routers and using serial connection to program routers. This is all done over IP, web interface nowadays. But back then it wasn't. You would dial in essentially to a modem and program it. I remember we got to make our own Cat 5 cables. So all of us were making like 100-foot cables so that we could all, go to the LAN party. Nonetheless. And I took classes that were like about technology and things like that. So my teachers thought, boy, you're an okay student. You should definitely look into this management computer systems, MCS at Whitewater, UW Whitewater. It's going to have a great job. You're going to make a ton of money. And since you're so good with the computers, it's going to be great for you. Well, I did what they said, and I enrolled in college in management computer systems after attending my first 2 years at my local university because I didn't have a 4-year scholarship, and it was pointless to go to a 4-year school. So if you're not in the United States, maybe this won't make sense, but your first 2 years of a 4-year degree are basically general studies. So I could have moved out of my house and to Whitewater and paid rent and did all this stuff for 2 years to take the exact same courses I could take 15 minutes up the street from me. And they all transferred over, and there's guaranteed transfer. So as soon as I finished my 2 years, I was going to get into Whitewater no matter what. So of course I went local. I got to hang out with my friends for 2 more years. I got to work a job. I had a job fixing computers, which was really high end for back then. I think I was making like $20 an hour at 18 years old. In 2000. That's insane money for a kid. And it was so much money, I thought, boy, I don't even need college. But anyway, so I do my first 2 years, pretty uneventful. I transfer into Whitewater, and that's when I'm really picking my major. So I picked management computer systems because that's what all my guidance counselors told me. And I immediately fail out, because management computer systems isn't a problem-solving course or a technology course, building your own computers. It was really just hardcore coding, which I'm awful at. That part of my brain, I don't have that skill. It's just like people with who can draw, who can look at a schematic and follow it. I can't do that. My brain just doesn't work that way. I mean, literally, my wife builds these bookcases because I can't even handle that. And so I immediately get discouraged because 4 of my 6 classes are like hard coding classes, and I'm just failing all of them. So I stop going. I figure, okay, well, I've got this big fat student loan, so I can pay for my rent. I also worked at the same time, but I got immediately discouraged, which led to, relationship problems. I was actually still with my wife then. She was in pharmacy school at the time, and in Madison. So we lived in between. So I was driving 40 minutes to go to Whitewater, and she was driving 40 minutes to go to UW-Madison. And it was relationship problems, and I just stayed at home and drank and didn't go to class, or I would go to classes that I liked, but I wouldn't go to programming classes. And eventually I had to pay the piper, and I had like a 2-point-something GPA, and I got put on scholastic suspension or whatever. So essentially they said, you're out. After 1 semester, they kicked me out because my grades weren't good enough, which is crazy because it's a UW school and it's not like they have high standards. But so I didn't know what to do. I was going to these coding. I was on, probation. And then I was going to these coding classes, and I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't understand how, like, for example, my last corporate job, I had the entire development department reporting directly to me, and I was able to lead them as a leader, no problem. We had ASP.NET programmers, we had PHP programmers, we had one dude that just specifically did APIs, we had JavaScript programmers. I understood the differences in the languages and what people needed to do, but I didn't understand anything about how it was important. I thought management computer systems would mean that, like, you'd be like a network admin or something like that, not like hard coding. So of course I fail. I fail these classes, and Whitewater kicks me out. And I had to go to a literal tribunal, sit in front of like 7 people and tell them why I deserved to give them another $20,000 of my money, $8,000. I don't remember what it was, right? So I had to sit there and it was that point, it was that inflection point in my life that, everything's falling down around me. I'm thinking about moving home. I don't really know what to do. I really looked inward and I figured out what I was good at. I realized that while I was good at fixing computers, what I was better at was explaining to people, in layman's terms, why this was a certain thing or why things work the way they work. Here's a perfect example. People would bring their computers in. This is the height of Kazaa. I'm going to date myself. Kazaa and like a LimeWire and stuff. And we were printing money in this little computer repair shop, removing viruses from people's computers. And it was always the same thing. People were downloading music or their videos off LimeWire, movies, and getting viruses. And I would explain to them. They would come in 2 days later and be like, the viruses are back. And I would turn on their computer. I'd say, I see you reinstalled LimeWire. Yeah? Okay, well, you probably reinfected your PC. Okay, well, I don't think I should have to pay for it. And I would tell people I use the same story on everyone. It worked 100% of the time. If you took your car into auto body shop because you wrapped it around a tree, and then 2 days later you did it again, would you expect them to fix it for free? And this is a type of skill that I had realized working fixing computers, that I was good with people. I was good with sales. I was good with relationships. I was really good at relating to people. So I decided to go into my tribunal and say, like, look, I'm changing my major. I think I'd be really good in marketing, and here are the many reasons why. And here's here are the you have to like list out here the lifestyle changes. I also said, I'm having problems with my girlfriend and being away from home, because I knew how to play on people's heartstrings, But really, I did lay out a solid plan, saying, look, let me change majors, let me come back. I think I can do this. And sure enough, I switched to marketing, and I absolutely crush it. I realized that I'm very, very, very good at analyzing data. I don't mind tooting my own horn, because I am. I'm very good at identifying trends. I'm very good at identifying how the type of language we should use, in particular, like direct mail. That's how I started out. Direct mail was really early email marketing, which I did, and then SEO and PPC, which is what I do now. But like, I was really good at looking at demographic, psychographic data and figuring out trends and, maximizing revenue for particular customers. So marketing just worked for me. Not just like, hey, here's how to sell stuff, but actual marketing, like logistics, intermodal trains, intermodal transport, stuff like that. I really understood. And it felt like they had talked my language. So I changed to marketing, and my grades improved. I still wasn't a great student. In fact, I never read a book in 6 years of college. Never once. I never did any required reading. I would kind of like peruse around for bullet points and stuff, and then I would just kind of figure things out. So I was never like an A student in college. I was like a BC student in college, but it didn't matter. Nobody asks you your grades when you graduate. So I graduated, and then I immediately went back to get my master's degree, which might be a different video, but it was very successful in that, because that was once I had already understood what I was good at. I was able to really excel. My point is, too many kids get pushed into college when they're not ready. Too many guidance counselors think that four-year colleges is for everybody. There are a lot of my friends, in fact, all of my friends these days are just trade people. I don't have a single academic friend, I don't think. All of them are like they lay tile, or they're electricians, or they're hard-working Americans who all support their family. None of them went to four-year colleges. They have HVAC degrees and stuff like that. And you can absolutely be very successful in going that route. and not be buried in debt, by the way. None of them had $75,000 in college debt like I did too, which may be a different story for a different time. So that's where I'll wrap this up. Take your time when you make your decisions, and don't worry about delaying going to college, because finding out who you are and what your strengths are is the most important thing you can do at that age. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.